This is the Barbados Today morning news for Friday, November 29. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. President of the Barbados National Trust, Peter Stevens, has withdrawn support for construction of the Hyatt Hotel Resort in its latest design. Stevens is accusing the developers of misleading the BNT into believing that the height and overall scale of the hotel would be reduced once government acquired additional land space. The BNT head also described the new design as boring and said the developers failed to do their homework. He said the trust has also retracted an earlier statement of support for the demolition of Liquidation Center to provide an additional 30,000 square feet of land. Fortress Fund managers have launched a new pension plan that aims to address the estimated low levels of pension coverage among the private sector workers. It promises greater flexibility, lower costs, and less administrative efforts than standard plans. The Fortress Multi-Employer Pension Plan allows multiple companies or employers to contribute collectively to a single plan. Pension Director René Delmas says he expects the new scheme to be attractive to many small and medium-sized businesses.
The multi-employer plan is simply a single plan that allows several unrelated employers to join the one plan. So is a mechanism that is foreign to Barbados, the norm being that every employer that wants their own pension plan takes out their own plan, the rules to trustee, and has it registered just for them. But this now allows multiple employers who may not have had all the resources available to them like a large employer would through the HR department to offer a pension plan to its employees without the hassle of what it takes to run a pension plan on its own.
The National Union of Public Workers is demanding that the Sanitation Service Authority reverse what it believes is the unfair dismissal of an employee who was on remand at HMP Dodds. On Thursday, the Acting General Secretary, Delcia Burke, told Barbados Today a man employed as a lorry loader was placed on remand after being charged with a criminal offense. His lawyer then notified his direct supervisor at the SSA. But when he reported to work after being granted bail some months later, the employee was verbally informed that his services were no longer required because he was not at work. Burke told Barbados Today the NUPW has since challenged the decision based on previous court decisions which determined that if an employer is informed that an employee has been incarcerated and could not attend work, they could not be dismissed. A top law enforcement official has knocked the recent spate of violence among young people. Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police William Yearwood was addressing a graduation ceremony of the Princess Trust team program last evening. He says a lack of discipline among young people is also impacting the force's ability to maintain law and order.
In recent times, the force has been experiencing heightened challenges in maintaining crime at a manageable level. But we have been successful in doing so, except for the number of murders. The public can be assured that we will leave no stone unturned to keep our streets and communities safe. I believe that generally, most members of the public still feel quite free to move around our island state and go about their daily business. However, the force will still make the call for the support of our law-abiding citizens, both old and young, to assist in policing our country.
The Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center could be sold to its main occupant, Ross University School of Medicine. Tourism Minister Kerry Simmons hinted at the possibility as he outlined plans for the expansion of the island's conference facilities space. There have been reports that Ross is in talks with government to acquire the facility located at 2 Mile Hill.
An entity like Ross may be invited to take over this place, allow the country to get the benefit of the capital gain arising from the sale, and then reinvest that into a facility which is better able to accommodate the level of business that we want to attract. Are we there at this point today? Not yet. But do I foresee us getting there? If all things are equal and go according to plan, yes, I could see within 3 to 5 years that this will be a discussion that we seriously have to have.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. The representatives of the two main political parties in Dominica have signed an electoral code of conduct ahead of the December 6th poll. This followed a meeting called by President Charles Savre, where they also agreed to promote peace in the days leading up to the polls. Both parties expressed their concerns regarding the heightened temperature ahead of the election, with the opposition saying this was due to the lack of electoral reform. Savre also addressed the current climate of unease, the recent violence within the context of the call for electoral reform, and asked for feedback and discussion on the current events. He said this is part of a wider process of engagement with community-based organizations and key stakeholders in moderating the risk of conflict and creating anarchy into and beyond the general elections. On the international scene, China has warned the United States that it will take firm countermeasures in response to U.S. legislation backing anti-government protests in Hong Kong. Beijing says attempts to interfere in the Chinese-ruled city are doomed to fail. We get the details in this Reuters report.
Thousands of protesters in Hong Kong are giving thanks to the United States. On Thursday, they held a so-called Thanksgiving rally. The show of appreciation, held symbolically on the day the U.S. celebrates its Thanksgiving holiday, comes after President Donald Trump signed into law congressional legislation which supported the protesters.
And we're very thankful for that.
That's despite angry objections from Beijing, with which Trump is seeking a deal to end the ongoing trade war. The new U.S. law requires the State Department to certify at least annually that Hong Kong has enough autonomy from China to justify favorable U.S. trading terms. It also threatens sanctions for human rights violations in the city. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman on Thursday gave a stern warning to the United States, which it claims is interfering with Hong Kong's internal affairs.
The Chinese government is unwavering in its determination to oppose any external forces interfering in Hong Kong's affairs, to implement our one country, two systems, and to safeguard national sovereignty, security, and development interests. We advise the United States not to act arbitrarily, otherwise China will take firm countermeasures.
For months, demonstrators have shown anger at what they see as Beijing's meddling in the freedoms promised to them when the former British colony was returned to Chinese rule 22 years ago.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good morning.